started and a little bit about myself and Tech Hub. So I will be starting us off with seeing if anyone knows anything about Tech Hub. Is this your first time? Have you heard of our organization before? And if not, please definitely drop a chat box here, something if you'd not heard about us. We are a regional nonprofit and we cover technology and innovation from Miami to Palm Beach County. So we really are a membership-driven organization where we cover all kinds of corporations and startups and higher education. We promote innovation all across the region by creating events and initiatives like this. And we bring together really thought leaders such as you guys today to share any information that we want to be ahead of the game, such as AI. We want to make sure that we are competitive in the market. So I will be passing this off to Brittany, and she's one of our chairs with Celine. They're chairs of the Women's Peer Group at Tech Hub. So we'd love to get you guys started with that.
Awesome. Thank you, Nadia. Excited to be here today and for this conversation. And we have a lot of great questions for our panel today. So we're going to dive right into it because I know we only have an hour. And this is such a great topic, especially for what's happening in the world of AI with our careers and the opportunity in front of us. So if I could have my panel do a quick introduction about themselves really quick, and then how you're involved in the AI space from your background and currently what you're doing as well. So I will pass it maybe to Olga first, have you popped up if you want to do a quick introduction before we dive in.
I can start. Go ahead. I thought she said Olga, but I'll go ahead really quick. Thanks for the invite. This is my first time attending a webinar. I'm very familiar with Tech Hub. I work for NextEra Energy. Most of you may know more, Florida Power and Light. I've worked here for, I grew up here. I started as a student and I've been here it's going to be 29 years later. But I've had mostly roles in IT technology. So AI has always been a big part of what I've done. My background is more with cybersecurity as well as application development, delivery of products, and now I'm doing more IT resiliency and product business management. So AI is really in all aspects of everything I've been doing. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Myrna.
All right. So Mirna Eusebio-Lithgow. I'm the CEO of Lippy Group and also an advisory board member for Intellias, who is a global software engineering company. I've been 20 plus years in telecommunications, basically, and in tech, and in companies such as Verizon, France Telecom, and Orange, and Optimum here in US. My involvement, I love the Tech Hub and I love this peer group just because we need to get ahead of all of these topics, especially women, and we'll deep dive on it. Certainly, AI tools have been part of my life. I started marketing, then shifted to product marketing, and then product development. And in each one of those phases, working, with products such as, high-speed internet, all the way up to streaming services. And for each one of the services, we have used, AI. AI's been around for a little while. Gen AI is the new thing. And in my personal life, for everything, I think, from notes taking to doing the auto generation of meeting notes, it's part of my daily operations from a personal perspective and also at work.
Awesome. Thank you. Perfect. And Nadia, I think we're missing one more of the panel. I don't know if you're able to pin 5 people or not. I think it's Patty.
Oh, sorry about that. Yes. For noticing.
Thank you. And then in the meantime, is it Felicita? Am I pronouncing it right?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Oh, perfect.
You can call me Fifi. That's
okay.
Fine. Well, yes, I'm Felicita Sandoval. I am a cybersecurity and AI professional. I've been, my background actually, I started in the financial industry as a financial specialist advisor, and then I transitioned to fraud investigations. I worked on anti-money laundering investigations and so forth for the government. And I finally had transitioned then to cybersecurity. It was my dream, what I studied for. And finally, about 4 or 5 years ago, I started in the cybersecurity industry. And with AI, I'm a PhD candidate, and I started my research on AI about 2 years ago, and I fell in love with it. And now I do a lot of AI research. My expertise goes into deepfakes and AI literacy. So that's what I'm working on right now. And how I use AI is, right now I'm building with my business partner a platform for AI literacy for everyone. So it helps me with, breaking down a lot of the ideas that I have, brainstorming, marketing material, and there's so much more to that you can use AI for. But then you see it being used in cybersecurity and how it helps us with our tools and our calls. So it's pretty. I think we're going in the right direction. We just have to make sure that we are secure.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. All right, we got Patty is our final panelist.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us. This is my first time with this group. I work for the ODP Corporation. I've been at the company for 17 years, and I've held various different roles at the organization. But most recently, my boss came up to me and said, how would you like to be a product owner for AI? And, I get to work with a couple really smart guys. And what we've done in order to protect data within our organization is we developed an internal application that allows us to keep everything internal, so we know that our data isn't exposed to like internet data and other models. So I've been working on that for over a year, going on 2 years now. And we've seen a lot of adoption through our organization. It's a super exciting opportunity for me. And I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to dive in these questions. And because Nadia or Nikki mentioned, I'm the chair of the South Florida Tech Hub for the Women's Council with Celine here, and we host these monthly. So if you enjoy our conversation today, we encourage you to come back. We do them in person as well here in South Florida. And I work in the IT staffing space, specifically in AI and MarTech. So I place the talent within this field. And I know this is something I'm constantly talking about. Okay, well, with AI, how do I bulletproof my career? What skills won't be replaced? And how can I make sure to upskill as well? And so a topic that comes up often is the topic of empathy and an emotional intelligence, and when it comes to AI, as very particular skills that stand out. So maybe if our panel could talk a little bit about how do you see empathy and emotional intelligence playing a role in an AI-driven workplace? Go ahead, Myrna. I saw you come off mute.
Well, I can start. I think that the important thing here is to remember that AI is here to enhance human talent. It's to help us, not the other way around. And that means that as humans, being empathetic, and that is core to us, right? So the difference between a bot and us, will always be that human-centric, an empathetic side, right? So that's something that cannot be like our emotions, and cannot be, fully replicated. So I recall one time that, I had a big project where the team felt that in an organization, a big corporation, and we had to transform and include AI in a lot of our operations. And the product managers, they were, completely freaked out. They had so much fear that AI was going to actually replace them. So one of the things that we have to do is to meet people where they are, understand their fears, understand, and to do that and being empathetic is to place ourselves as leaders and hold them through the process, providing them, the right skill sets, the right tools, but also listening a lot. From one-on-one meetings, there's some people that you're going to need to, double down in just having these conversations there. And the second thing, and I think most important part of this, is being transparent, having that transparency of what this implies or means to us. And that is also, being part of having like the empathy around it. So, that are kind of my initial thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree
Hey,
with
Brittany,
you.
go ahead, Felicia.
No, I agree with you, Mirna. I actually echo what you said. And I want to add a different approach to this, since it will be the same thing that you said I will have to agree to. But in the other side, in the future, what we're going to be seeing probably within the next 7 years is going to be physical AI, which is going to be robots, physical robots like assisting nurses or assisting us with tutoring our children or assisting doctors. So we need to think about empathy as well, emotional AI, and implementing it into these physical AI robots that we're going to be using in the future. But also because feelings, the AI will never have feelings, which I know that's why you were trying to say, Mirna, like they don't have feelings at all, but they can mimic human emotions because we can train them. And one of the biggest things that it's never going to probably have is going to be love. So we need to make sure that we are overseeing this. That's why we need a human, oversight on AI technologies to make sure that if we have a physical AI taking care of, I don't know, a patient in a hospice place, that the model that we use has been trained in order for it to understand what love is and love is not only to a partner. I love doing this. I love walking. I love nature. I love my niece. I love, so it's very important that we have that in place as well, because if not, I see a lot of challenges to come. Another example is we use a robot to tutor one of our children, and the child doesn't want to do the homework. They just want to paint. And so what about the robot, the physical AI, like actually goes erratic and it gets mad and it hurts our children because we didn't actually teach it, what love was and why is this child drawing? He loves drawing. So now we have to actually take a different approach for him to actually do his homework and leave the drawing for maybe later. So those are things that I see that I've been thinking a lot lately, and how we're going to approach this when it comes to physical AI and when we have them in our homes, together with society.
Yeah, what great examples of the importance of it too. And I think this is why it's so important to continue to have women in technology, that they're a part of these teams, dealing with the data, so that we have all of the perspectives for these important roles that AI is going to play in the future. I know, Olga, I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, and I think you kind of just touched on it. So I think we understand the challenges we have. So what are we doing about it? And I think what we really need to look at is also, are we having the right diversity in the AI positions and various positions, right? So I think that that's something that we're looking at. How do you tackle it? Because really it's learning from human behavior. And if you've got one group particularly more interested in AI, or you've got data scientists that are pertaining to one ethnic group or background, I think that's where we really can kind of battle. We could start initiatives of having more diversity within the AI development and technology development, so that as technology gets developed, it's a lot more diverse. And that's kind of one of the big things I know we've been focusing on working, is to have more diversity, so that bias that we have existing doesn't get amplified now, with AI. So that's just kind of something I wanted to share. And you mentioned having more women, but I think also just other biases and other ethnic groups or other even thoughts and backgrounds are important to make sure that we've got it. So maybe take a step back and say, how many, what's the diversity level within your organization that is involved in AI? And look to see if there are things that you can do to change that and improve it.
Let me say something real quick to that, is that on top of diversity, we need to also look at the data, because we can have a diverse room, but if the data is still being scraped by the net, there's going to be so much bias. It's impossible. So we also need to make sure that we have some data governance.
Yeah, Patty.
So the only thing I would add as well that we've encountered at our company is just the adoption, right? You have people who are very early adopters and other people, and you all touched on it a little bit, but you know, people that are afraid of the technology. So it's just not, don't leave them out, you know, try to figure out a way, like everybody learns in a different way, and try to figure out a way to pull more people in.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Well, I want to ask maybe, so we've talked about the importance of it and the role. Is there any specific strategies that you would recommend? I know we touched a little bit about diversity and the teams and the data, but any other recommendations when it comes to actually implementing this, either as an organization or for someone in their career, so that they do stay ahead of the trend with AI?
You know, I could give an example of how Intellius is managing this, and I think, you know, it's a great approach, and it's something that probably, you know, Felicita touched a little bit around that, and it's also about establishing clear policies of ethical usage of AI. You know, I think, you know, ethical, it's such you know, a buzzword, but it's a reality. Like right now, having a clear AI strategy and start to think about, it's not like plugging AI, whichever you are in an organization. It's understanding what needs to be enhanced and going from that question. And then how can we make sure that there's an ethical usage of that? The other thing that I will recommend is to have also some governance around it within your organization, right? So to understand, it's not everyone implementing AI the way that I think, or with this ideology or what have you. There has to be some governance around that. And it's important to have a specific committee for that. Then it could be, you know, external consultants that can also help. So at Intellius also, we're doing community support, like structures that are communities around this, of other employees that can also be the ones that are modeling or using the technology for personal use or at work, and can help with others that are maybe laggard in the process, and that can actually handheld them and expose them to all of the machine learning through workshops. It could be seminars, mentorships. You know, we always talk about mentors. So we should have also mentors within our organization that can also be AI ambassadors that can help with all of this. And I think, you know, Intellius approaching this has been very useful for the entire team.
Yeah, I also, something that I do in my company, since I'm in governance, risk, and compliance, is that the governance, governing AI, and then vendor management, it goes hand in hand when it comes to bringing AI into the organization. One of the things that I do, and for those just in case, vendor management is, you know, if you're going to bring a tool or you're going to bring a service to your organization, you want to vet it before you approve it, right? So there is another step, which is governance, meaning if you want to use, for example, you want to use ChatGPT for your marketing team, you assess that tool, assess the company as well, make sure that, you know, it's something that we they have a good security posture. Then we bring it in, but then you also have to verify not only with security. You want to verify this with legal, because you want to see the terms and conditions. Is this are they going to be using our data to train their models? Do we want that? Right? Where is this going to be stored? Where is this data going to be stored? You also want to look into privacy. You want to have a privacy expert, data privacy expert. You want to have a compliance expert in that call. So you want to make sure that you have a governance body that is able to oversee this AI, and then see what is it that you want to do. What does this team want for us to approve this, right? And once we verify that, and everyone gives their expertise opinion, and then we set it in stone, then you go ahead and you process. So yes, a governance process is very, very important to bring AI into the organization and be implemented.
Yeah, absolutely. And Patty, I saw you come off mute. I don't know if you had something to add to that one.
Yeah, I was going to totally agree with what you both said. We have a governance, a very formal governance process at our company. And we also do a lot of education on compliance and proper use of data and that kind of thing. But the other thing that we do to drive compliance, or not compliance, but adoption, is we have a group of, we started a champions program. And at first we really recruited people because we could see the people who were adopting it faster than others. So we invited them, and then now we have people just wanting to join. So we have that. And then we also come up with different ways to drive adoption for like those laggards and different people who might not be able to have that creative view on how to use AI within the organization. So we do monthly AI Connect sessions with various topics. And that way we're able to push information out, but also have like a Q&A session. And we have different levels of people that we target. Like one might be intro to AI, and another one might be, you know, here's how you connect to different applications to AI within the organization. And we found that really useful. And people are very interested in it. They're highly attended.
Yeah, that's great. I think everyone's super interested to learn about AI, and the more resources we can give them as organizations, I think the better, so that we can adopt it. And I want to kind of transition a bit, and Olga, I'll come to you first, but talking about AI and career development, there was a statistics that according to one analysis, nearly 60 million women work in occupations where up to half of the job task could be replaced by AI. And I know we've talked about the importance of diversity on the teams and having women as well, but why else would you say that it's crucial for women specifically? I mean, whether they're in IT or not, like, why is it so important for them to stay ahead of this transformation?
Yeah, I think the statistics are a little, I think, scary, right? And I think just AI can be so big. It's almost like cybersecurity. There's so many aspects to it, right? And it can be a little, I'm going to say, intimidating. I think that we just have to remember, whether it's women or men, that there is something AI can't, and that's the soft skills, right? It's the critical thinking. So I almost feel what I would say is that women, and again, I say everyone, we need to just embrace that AI is here, understand it, not be so intimidated by it, and identify what, like, as an individual, can I do that will help me embrace this and leverage it, right? Because I mean, I was just talking to my husband who's a teacher and talking about AI, and he's very, not into the latest technology, but even as a teacher, you could really just embrace and identify. And what I try to tell people is that it can just kind of skip steps for you. So if you're in a role where there are more tasks that can be automated, instead of kind of thinking, I'm going to not have a job or my job is going to be questioned, you should think more about, great, how could I automate what I'm doing? And then if I did that, where can I spend my time? And I say soft skills and critical thinking is, some of those things is just going to enhance it. So instead of spending time doing these mundane tasks that are just repetitive, embracing the technology and understanding how to leverage it within your workspace, and then identify how could you use the skills that AI maybe doesn't have, or you can complement it. That, I think, will help you identify where your career can be modified and adapt it. And it can start small. It doesn't have to be this big change in your career. It could just be some smaller steps into, if this part of my job gets automated, then where can I spend my time to bring value to my my role? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will probably piggyback on that, because I think what you said is so important, especially for women. If we live, all this transformation to just women that are in STEM, and I've been in STEM, and I'm a major in finance and marketing, and I think, Felicita, you said also you were in other areas, you started in the financial sector. We all have to understand that we are tech people. Like there's no way to avoid that within our everyday life. And what is important on the women's side is that I think AI can help us actually bridge the gap on equality and a lot of things for women. What happens is, Olga, you just said, it just reminded me, usually women, we're heads down in the task. Every day, we're handed in a lot of, work, and we're just working. As to be able to drive your career, you need time to plan your career, being intentional, be strategic about it. And to be strategic, I will just challenge this group. There's something that I do every week, is plan to get 1 or 2 or 3 hours from your week to be strategic, to think critically about what are your next steps, what are you going to do next. And that means just, start on your day by day. Do a list of what are repetitive, boring, terrible tasks that an AI can do to leave you time to actually you embark yourself on getting on that project that gives visibility at work, right? And can help you boost your career and be part of that. Be in that other room, right? Instead of, I will just hand in the information. So it's about transforming our mindset and the way of how we think and go about as women in work. And it's as urgent as ever before, because I think, that will be a game changer for women at work as well.
Yeah, I love that, automating the mundane tasks so that we can spend our time on high impact activity and add more value to our organizations and in our personal life. Fifi, maybe if you could talk a little, give some specific examples of some tasks that we can automate in our careers or even personal lives, like some really tangible takeaways that maybe someone can look into.
Yes. So I first want to say that even if we have 60-some million jobs that are going to be lost due to automation, to AI, there's still going to be about 85 million created. So we have that advantage. The thing is that in the history of women, we have worked so hard to at least get to a certain point because we didn't have a lot of the chances that men had. But now we're in a space where even women are supporting each other. But we didn't have that before. This is something new, and I love it. So a few of the tasks that you can actually leverage with AI, it's a lot of administrative work that can be the mundane. You have research or maybe you're working on some marketing material and it will take you weeks trying to find some good topics and good articles to use as resources. Right now you can use AI and you can actually do that in less than 1 day, of course, but in just a few seconds, a few minutes, a few hours, you can get all this information and then create your whatever it is that you're creating, your paper, your marketing material. But also you can use it to complement your day-to-day, build yourself a curriculum to, I don't know, you want to multitask and you have only certain time, certain hours a day that you can use. AI can help you simplify that. It can help you with your wellness as well. Hey, I want to schedule, this is from 9 to 5 I work, but between that I want to walk. I want to take, drink my water. I want to eat, it can help you with that as well. So it's not all technical, but in regards to everyone in every industry, women, men, everyone, not only in the tech space, like you said, we all have to get into something called education. We all know about education. We need to educate ourselves because, believe it or not, want it or not, everyone is going to have some sort of tech skill from now to the future because everything is going to be, automated. A lot of things are going to be automated and everything is going to be probably implemented, like AI implement. There's going to be AI implementation. So we need to make sure that we get on that, even if it's, I think you mentioned that, Mirna, even if it's 1 hour, 2 hours a week on educating yourself on AI, on intro to AI, on machine learning, like anything that you can get your hands on. And then with that knowledge, you're going to be able to look at your role and then identify gaps. Like, hey, I think I can use AI to automate this process. And I think that's the best thing you could do. But just remember that educating yourself is top.
And practice, right? Because I don't know about AI. Just, get in ChatGPT or go to Anthropic and use Claude. You learn by doing, right? So start looking at even your calendar. How can you automate appointments? How can you automate, even social media posts? Like there's so many things on your daily life that you can do. Designs, right? In your everyday life, you can practice to then incorporate at work and get better burst. I couldn't agree more with Felicity.
And Patty, what about you? What would you say are some tasks personally or professionally that women can automate? And even if there's any specific tools that you love, I know we all love to talk about ChatGPT, but if there's also any other cool tools that you've been utilizing.
I mostly use our in-house application, and we built it using ChatGPT in addition on the Azure platform. But I'm just going to echo a little bit what everyone else has said. It's a journey. you don't expect to like just jump in and know everything right away. I mean, mainly because the technology is changing so rapidly, none of us can get comfortable, right? Because we learn something new every day and you have to be able to pivot and adopt. The other thing that, we try to say a lot to associates in our organization is experiment with it, right? It's really, really great at helping your creative energies and juices. If you're especially, I'm sure we all have those tasks that we have to do that we kind of dread, and so you can go into an application and you can ask it to kickstart some ideas and it gets you started. It's really, really useful for that. From a corporate perspective, it's, promoting AI and figuring out like, what are those areas within your organizations that could be made easier and simpler. And sometimes I think we all tend to want to boil the ocean, but really you should start as small as you can so you can see some wins.
Hey, Brittany, I did want to add and maybe expand a little bit on what Patty said. So internally, we also have an internal, and I suggest everyone should just make sure that before you post things externally to some external sites, find out if your company has an internal safe space, as Patty mentioned. But I want to put a plug out for Microsoft 365 as a tool, because that's a good, easy way of also getting started. Microsoft 365 has AI. They have things called Copilot, where you could say, summarize meetings with teams, where it takes notes. You can do Excel spreadsheets. I've used it where it says summarize an Excel spreadsheet for me with the key terms, simple things like that. That if you have that tool, I would really also emphasize that you use it, because that's some of your standard day-to-day things. Microsoft Word, email responses. Although in my case, some of those email responses are too formal, they'll know it's not me. But it is, when I need to write a formal email, helps me write it out with Microsoft Outlook. So I will put a plug in for that tool.
Awesome. Myrna, did you want to add something before you?
Yes, and things continue to evolve. I think Copilot absolutely is excellent. I use like Otter AI a lot, and I used it. I just released a book about change, and I work a lot with change management with companies. And I put this example where all the interviews that I did, from chairmen of the board to students, to write this book. I summarized a lot of the information through this Otter AI, and it just helped me organize better the ideas, and that I could sit and write from those excerpts, and made my author journey even easier from the perspective of having the information summarized. And then I was able to put the ideas into the context that I wanted, that is basically change management. So I do believe that there's so many tools out there. Just make sure that you're following people that are giving relevant information out there around AI. If you haven't gone into podcasting, start looking at podcasts. There are a lot of tools around that, like Connor Grennan. It's an NYU professor, which I follow, and probably Felicita, you know about him as well. It's just amazing, how much of a breakdown. You don't need to go through tons and tons of papers. Like, there's so much information out there. Just make sure that you take time to upskill. You take time to put yourself, if you just can't dedicate 1 hour. So, okay, look for the program that meets that 1 hour and be part of that, because you can't stop this. It's more about making sure that you're adapting and being flexible enough to identify, okay, this tool can help me do this. And the only way to do that is through educating yourself and being part of forums and communities.
Yeah, I love that. And too, I know you mentioned a podcast, and that's something I wanted to ask everyone too, is recommendations of resources to continue to learn. I know I don't know if anyone's listened to the AI breakdown. It's 15 minutes and gives you all the AI news. And I just feel like I learned so much in 15 minutes. So that's a great one if you want to check that out. But what other recommendations or podcast, books? I mean, books I feel like are a little challenging when it comes to specifically AI because it's always changing, but any resources you would recommend?
That's funny, Brittany, because that's the one that I was going to say, AI breakdown. I love Nathaniel. He's amazing. And let me tell you that he has a platform where he's been doing this, I think, since December, and I've been part of it. I love it. Where I think it's every week, he goes through AI tools. There's a bunch of AI tools, and you get to practice and do labs with him. It is fantastic, and you get to explore so many different labs and create your own GPTs or your own models, train your own models. So I also recommend, if you search for the AI breakdown and then look for Nathaniel, and look for his platform. It's super. I think it's only $20, and you really get to experience it fully. I highly recommend that. And then also the typical Udemy. Udemy has a course on AI, A through Z AI. It's pretty good. So that one is a bit mathematical, but it's worth it because you learn how is it that the machines learn. IBM has a great course in Coursera as well that gives you a great intro into AI, and then I think you get to practice with a PyTorch and also build like a model. Those are, for me, those are excellent, and they have worked tremendously for me. And then there's also a bunch of little like YouTube videos and things like that that you can educate yourself on.
Yeah, awesome. I haven't tried out his platform yet, so I'll have to look into that more. Olga, what about you? Any recommendations or resources for the audience?
Yeah, I think you mentioned one that I also I like that quick podcast because I tend to skim through things really quick as well. I think another one I had looked up for education is also Udacity. It has like an education for career growth and stuff like that. So that's a site I was going to post in the chat. That would be probably another one I've just had people look at for more formal training and updates.
I will add also Ali Miller. She definitely, I love her breakdowns. They're like some like bite size. She's really straight to the point, and gives you, she has also like a 5-day introduction through email, through AI, and it gives you such down-to-earth examples, and it breaks it down like really easy for non-STEM people too as well. So I actually, I follow her a lot, and I think, she provides like great content.
I just wanted to add, not necessarily a resource, but a strategy. The AI universe is so big, and you can feel completely overwhelmed by all the information. And there's so many people that are giving their opinions, and some are mimicking other people, and they're not really even coming up with valid content. So one thing that you can really do as an individual is come up with your personal goal. Like, is it my personal or my professional area that I want AI to help me with? And then start, everyone said use it, jump in. I mean, I would say use it every day for everything that you do. But then also, try to find people that add to your goal, right? That supplements your goal, something that you're interested in. So you can, and then you can start to evaluate whether what they're saying is really accurate or not. Because there's some negative to AI as well. And there's some weaknesses. So it's good for you to know that. And if you specialize in something that you're interested in, that's going to get you jump started, I think, rather than trying to learn all about AI. That would be difficult.
Yeah. Felicita, did you want to add something?
I was just gonna put a little bit of a plug here, but right now, working on my platform on AI literacy, I'm gonna be training everyone in the industry, like everyone in the workforce, from all across the industries. And I'm doing this with Carla Garcia. She's the founder of my plan, Keeper AI, and we are working on workshops and trainings on artificial intelligence, on introductions to security, data privacy. So also stay tuned for that, because we are going to have a lot of resources posted on LinkedIn. So anyone that wants to take advantage of it when it's out, you're more than welcome. But I think this is something that everyone is going to benefit from it. So look into that as well.
Awesome. Exciting. And so I want to wrap us up with one final question before we ask if there's any questions from the audience. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to start popping them in the chat so we can ask our panelists while we still have them. But when it comes to AI, we mentioned that it's changing every day, and there's a lot of excitement in the field. I guess what's something that you're most excited about or promising developments happening in AI right now, and why is that exciting for you specifically?
I could start. I think there's a lot of advancement now in deepfakes. First, in the bad content, because there is so many things going on with sextortion, which I think you have seen celebrities' bodies being exposed, and it's as a deep fake, and it really takes a toll on their emotional as well as their reputation. We have extortion, so you have families being extorted out of money because someone is saying, "Hey, look, we have your son captive, and if you don't give us $10,000, we're gonna kill the family member," and it's putting people into a lot of trauma for them to be able to, like, once they give that money, in reality the person was already dead and it was a deep fake. So this is really, really sad. So right now there's this company called Reality Defender, who they have this pretty cool tool that detects deep fakes. So that's companies like Reality Defender is what we need. We need to make sure that we have something out there for people to be able to use in order to defend themselves. But we also need educational resources, which is something that I'm working on, and that I'm seeing that other companies are going to try to bring in as well, is to educate the public, not only employees and the workforce, but also the public into how to detect deepfakes. I think this is a big development that's happening right now that we have to keep an eye on.
Yes, absolutely. Such an important tool and resource because of the deepfake. So that's great that they're working on that. Olga, what about you?
We've got a lot of AI projects going on, and we're very metrics driven. So I would say, with being very metric driven organization, we have a lot of data. So I think what I'm probably most interested across our AI projects is really having a better, I'll say, just automating some of the analytics, data analytics, and how much time it takes to consume all this data that we collect for metrics and things like that. So we really have some efforts focused on cost optimization based on what the cost is of supporting technology, or just even customer calls from a technology standpoint. So I think across our business, we have really leveraged AI to focus on cost initiatives. And I think that across, that's where we're leveraging it the most. And from a technology standpoint, because we have so much data, that's where I feel like sometimes it's just overwhelming. So to be able to use AI for that and analytics, and then you can give it to a person that can take it and now do something more with it. I think I'm really excited to be able to then move some of our resources to the other projects or initiatives that we have, versus having a number of people just doing data analytics and helping us kind of move their career also in a different path, and a positive path too.
On my side, I'm excited about healthcare and applications of AI in healthcare. In Telias, we bought a company called C2, and our applications, our AIs are, also helping others in this space on research, on speeding up that research, or making sure, that we're able to get the help that people need, quicker, faster, better. On the personal side, I wrote the book that is called Leap Out of Your Lane. And, I said and questioned myself, like, how can I get this in front of more people? And how can I help more people manage change? Because if you think about it, all that we have talked about is also embracing change in technology. And we're launching now Leap Out of Your Lane AI, and we're going to start a beta. So I invite everyone here that wants to go. You can go to mirnaeusebiolithgow.com, and there's also a way for you to enroll in this beta, to have this coach to help you, successfully do leaps in your lives and plan, like, what are your next steps in your career. So I think, that's what I'm most excited about, of how we can enhance health. How can we enhance ourselves as superhumans, right? And how can we spread the good in the world? I think that's why we, myself personally got into tech in the first place.
Yeah, superhuman. I love it. AI is going to make us superhuman. That's great. Patty, what about you?
I'm not at that level of superhuman ambition, but but I'm inspired. But, you know, at our organization, what I'm really impressed with is, or excited about, the technology is changing so rapidly. We're now starting to replace like code with large language models. And that's just amazing. Like we have college students that are on our team that are helping connect like our data sources through, you know, just text, just in configuration files. And right now we're working with our sales team. And if you think about it, like everybody has so many different data sources that are coming at them 24/7, right? If what we're striving to do is use our AI platform to be that connective tissue to pull all those data sources together. And then to Olga's point, instead of, you know, having to hit like 20 different applications, if you can pull it all together and then it can give you the insights, it helps relieve the stress on your brain every day, which doesn't mean that you don't have to use your brain, but it makes it easier to get everything organized. So that's my excitement.
Yeah, amazing. It is definitely exciting to think about all of the opportunity in front of us, and with it changing constantly and evolving. We do have a question from Gabriella. She says that I have the impression that some organizations overestimate AI and others underestimate it. Do you have a balanced and realistic approach to it? Is that so? I would love your expert opinion on that.
I can expand a little bit on what I mentioned. So I would say we have a realistic approach because we actually tie savings, like financial savings, to our AI ideas. So it's very, I would say, very real when your budget gets cut to make sure that those AI ideas are thought through. And I think it's really become more of our culture. It comes from our CEO. Like when we start going through a process of every year, we go through kind of like new ideas to get us moving forward for extended growth. So I would say, but we have a very formal and big, I'd say, organization. So it probably depends on the organization and the magnitude. But I would say for us, it has been very, very formal, very real. It's also become part of our culture. And Miriam has said, I am also responsible for change, organizational change management. So, and there's a lot of OCM that comes with AI. So that's why I also say it's part of our culture. So I would say that it is very real, it is very formal, but we're also a very, you know, structured company. Maybe some smaller organizations is a little bit different. But if you did want to put more formality to AI, I think then, you know, putting the stakes up high to saying, okay, what will you automate? What savings will you get from that automation makes things a lot more real.
Yes, yeah. I agree with that, Olga. And budgeting is top. You know, like in the companies, you cannot mess with money. But I will also say that I think it's a lot of companies are still little by little working towards implementing AI, and it's because we have to be very, very careful due to data security. We have to figure out first data governance and let me explain it a little bit in a different way. So when you are using client data, there's contracts in place. So if you start, you know, if you implement AI and then you have you use this data to train these models, you can be on a breach of contract. So there is so many different changes. So companies are taking their time to get to where they have to be to amend this contract. But then also we're also trying to see if this technology is really working, because you can use AI in the marketing team. You can use AI in maybe certain tools like Zoom just brought there some companion and all that. And you have to take your time to approve those sort of AI features. But then it's also making sure that we're able to satisfy our clients, to satisfy our contracts, and then also evolve with technology. But it takes a lot of time, and it's not something that we can do at a fast pace.
And have you seen a difference, just a follow-up question to that, between, of course, the big, large corporate organizations versus like your startups who are, I mean, maybe their entire business is built on an AI tech stack?
There is a huge difference, but more smaller companies are actually using, you know, AI to develop their stack than big companies. Like I said, companies have to take their time because there's a lot of legal matters at hand. But I haven't seen that small companies, and I admire this. You start up with a company, you use AI. It's not so, it doesn't work as well, you know, but they're daring, and through the feedback of the clients, it gets, you know, it gets automated, it gets better, and we are able to optimize it. But yes, I am seeing a difference in that, and a lot of these little companies are being bought by the big companies, you know, so, you know, you can see it in the market.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you. We do have one more question from Daisy real quick. We have about 6 minutes left. What advice can you offer to career coaches, career development professionals who are concerned that AI is going to take away aspects of their job, such as resume development and interview coaching? I mean, I could even say something too, because I mean, I'm in placing people when it comes to career development. I mean, I've personally found it's made my job even better where I can focus on those high value activities. So for example, if I have a candidate, I can prep them through using ChatGPT, what I know about the client, feed the information about certain information to help prep them. And then I can coach them directly, because as we talked about too, that human aspect, right, of taking the strategy and then implementing it is a different skill set that we're not quite there yet. And I don't know, we will be, but I think, Felicita, you were gonna mention something. Oh, I think you're still mute.
Just like how you mentioned, at first, I just want to tell people, don't be afraid. I know a lot of us, the fear is, oh, it's going to take and replace me, because coaching is something that now, let's say ChatGPT can do, right? But it's not a coach, it's not a mentor, it's a assistant. It's an assistant. That's all it can do. It's really not as smart. Once, I'm just going to mention this word, but I'm not going to go, because I will spend hours talking about quantum. But when quantum comes, then we'll talk about how smart AI is going to be. But right now, it's not as smart as we think. It just helps us automate a lot of things, and all those mundane tasks, you can do them faster. But what I do suggest is use it to leverage your curriculums. Remember that we have our own independent thinking that AI cannot do. I know that's one of your questions was like, I remember one of your questions was like, what is the only thing or one of the things that AI cannot replace? And it's independent thinking. We all talk about critical thinking, and this was something that one of a very intelligent man, he will argue that he's not intelligent. He was explaining to me the difference between critical thinking and independent thinking. And it took me a bit to understand. And once I got this question, I was walking for like an hour, and I was like, independent thinking. When you train a model, you train it with all of this information, this data. So the model, AI cannot be like, oh, let me put the data aside and let me think for a second for myself. It's not going to do that. We can do that. That's why we are needed for human oversight. So don't fear so much. Just see how you can leverage AI.
Absolutely. Amazing. Well, what a great conversation. I love this topic, career development and AI, how to bulletproof your career. I hope you got some good nuggets from our panelists today. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to be doing our next Women's Council at I believe, towards the end of August. So stay tuned with South Florida Tech Hub for more information about that. And Nadia, I'll pass it to you if you have any final closing thoughts for us or information about South Florida Tech Hub.
Hey, Brittany, just before, I saw there's a question about using Office 365 with company data. I really just I urge everyone to make sure you understand the data privacy within your organization. So if you have Office 365 within your environment, it's probably safe to do so. But if you're taking company data and putting it on external, that make sure you're following your company policies on data privacy and protection. So I just wanted to make sure that that was just addressed.
Thank you. Amazing. All right, Nadia, over to you.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me? My internet was a little bit. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. This chat has been going on and off. We just love seeing this. So hopefully you guys will join us next time. And the speakers as well. We'd love to get in touch with you more. And regarding some of our events, I definitely want to highlight one very important one is the gala. It's happening on August 1st in West Palm Beach. It's a beautiful Oscar, like it's an Oscar for tech. So it's an opportunity to really shine and wear your beautiful dress and high heels and all of that. So definitely mark your calendar. We'll send some more information. Hopefully we'll see you there. Thank you so much. I will definitely send all of the notes from this event as well. And stay tuned. Thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.